Welcome to Lantern and Lullaby. I'm so glad you've chosen to spend this quiet evening here. Before tonight's journey begins, allow yourself to become completely comfortable. Let the day slowly drift behind you. Your thoughts can become a little quieter. Your breathing can settle into its own gentle rhythm. There is nowhere else you need to be, and nothing more you need to do tonight. We'll follow the rain toward an ancient castle, a castle that sleeps through every hour of the day and wakes only when midnight arrives. Beyond its doors, quiet halls, forgotten rooms, and hidden passageways are waiting, and with every step, the noise of the world can grow a little more distant as you move a little closer to rest. So, whenever you're ready, the castle is beginning to wake. And our story begins. Rain has followed you for most of the evening. It falls steadily over the empty country road, softening the distant hills and turning the fields into dark silver shapes. The last village disappeared behind you long ago. Now, there are only hedgerows, old trees, and the narrow road winding through the night. Your footsteps remain unhurried. The rain is cool, but not unpleasant. It gathers along the edges of your coat and taps gently against the hood above you. Somewhere beyond the fields, thunder rolls quietly through the darkness. You continue forward, trusting the road to lead somewhere warm. The road eventually reaches a turning you do not remember seeing on any map. 2 weathered stone pillars stand beneath the branches, almost hidden by ivy and rain. Beyond them, a narrower lane disappears into a wood. There is no sign to tell you where it leads, only an old iron gate hanging slightly open between the pillars. The wind moves through the trees behind it, carrying the scent of wet leaves and distant wood smoke. You pause beneath the dripping branches. The lane ahead seems darker than the road behind you. And yet, somewhere within that darkness, there is the faintest suggestion of shelter. You step through the gate. The lane curves slowly beneath ancient trees. Their branches meet overhead, forming a high, dark tunnel filled with the sound of rain. Water runs along the wheel ruts and gathers in shallow pools between the roots. Every few steps, the wind loosens another shower of droplets from the leaves. The world beyond the wood feels very far away now. There are no fences, no cottages, no passing lights. Only the quiet road and the pale mist drifting between the trunks. Then, as you round another bend, you notice something ahead. A single warm light shines through the trees. It disappears almost immediately, but for a moment, it was unmistakably there. You move toward the place where the light appeared. The trees begin to thin. Their trunks open onto a broad valley filled with rain and shadow. Across the valley, beyond a black ribbon of river, a castle rises from a wooded hill. Its towers are enormous. Its roofs and chimneys vanish into the low clouds. For a few moments, you simply stand and watch. Every window is dark. No smoke rises from the chimneys. The light you saw has vanished. The castle appears abandoned, silent beneath the storm. But the road continues toward it, winding down through the valley. And with nowhere else to go, you begin the descent. The road slopes gently downward. Rainwater streams over the stones, following you into the valley. The castle remains visible between the trees, growing larger whenever the road turns. From here, you can see long wings stretching from the central towers. High walls descend toward the river. Narrow bridges connect parts of the building far above the ground. It is far grander than any country house or ruined fortress. Even in darkness, the place seems carefully preserved. The roofs are whole, the windows are unbroken, the gates stand upright. The castle does not look forgotten. It looks as though it is simply sleeping. And tonight, you have arrived before it wakes. At the bottom of the valley, the road reaches the river. An old stone bridge crosses the fast-moving water. Moss covers its low walls, and rain glistens across the worn paving stones. The river carries leaves and pale foam beneath the arches. Beyond the bridge, the castle road begins its climb. You step onto the first stones. The sound of the water rises around you, deep and steady beneath the rain. Halfway across, you look up. The castle towers directly above the far bank now. Against the clouds, their windows resemble rows of closed eyes. For one brief moment, you wonder how long they have remained dark. Beyond the bridge, the road climbs between high stone walls. The trees give way to clipped yew hedges, overgrown only at their edges. Rain falls from the dark shapes of statues standing among them. The castle walls rise higher with every turn. Soon, the valley disappears behind you. Only the road remains, leading upward toward a pair of immense iron gates. They are closed. A small gatehouse stands beside them, but there is no light inside. No bell hangs nearby. No chain or handle offers a way to call for help. You approach slowly, listening to the rain fall across the empty courtyard beyond. You stop beneath the shelter of the gatehouse arch. For the first time in many minutes, the rain no longer falls directly upon you. Water drips from the stone above and gathers in a narrow channel at your feet. The gates remain firmly closed. Beyond them, the castle courtyard lies still beneath the storm. You notice an old clock set high in the nearest tower. Its face is difficult to see through the rain. The hands are almost together at the top. Only a few minutes remain before midnight. You wait beneath the arch, grateful for the shelter. The castle gives no sign that it knows you are there. The tower clock begins to move. At first, you think it is only the rain distorting your view. Then, the long hand shifts forward with a quiet mechanical tremor. Somewhere inside the walls, a wheel begins to turn. The sound travels through the gatehouse stones. A low click, a distant chain drawing tight, another wheel, answering far above. The castle is no longer completely silent. The final minute passes slowly. Rain runs down the iron bars before you. The clock hand reaches the top. For one breath, everything becomes still. Even the wind seems to pause among the towers. Then midnight arrives. The first chime rolls across the courtyard. It is deep, warm, and unexpectedly gentle. The note travels through the stone beneath your feet and out across the valley. A second chime follows, then a third. With each sound, something inside the castle changes. A small window high in the clock tower glows softly. Another light appears below it. Then one farther along the eastern wing. They do not flare brightly. They awaken one by one, like rooms remembering the night. By the sixth chime, warm windows are scattered across the castle. By the 12th, the great building is no longer asleep. As the final chime fades, the iron gates release with a soft metallic click. They begin to move inward. No hand pushes them. No guard appears from the gatehouse. The hinges turn slowly and smoothly, opening onto the courtyard beyond. Small lamps beneath the covered walkways brighten as their entrance is revealed. At the far side of the courtyard, 2 enormous wooden doors stand beneath a carved stone arch. A warm glow appears around their edges. The castle has not merely awakened, it has opened itself to you. You leave the shelter of the gatehouse and step through the waiting gates. The courtyard stones shine beneath the rain. Water pours quietly from carved spouts and disappears into channels along the walls. As you cross, more of the castle reveals itself. Covered galleries surround the courtyard on 3 sides. Tall windows rise above them, lit from within by lamps and fireplaces you cannot yet see. The great entrance doors remain closed, but the warm light around them grows stronger as you approach. Behind you, the iron gates begin to close. Their movement is slow and reassuring. The storm remains outside the walls. Ahead, the entrance waits, and for the first time all evening, you feel certain that you have found shelter. You reach the top of the broad entrance steps. The rain runs from your coat onto the pale stone beneath you. The doors are taller than the trees along the road. Their dark wood is carved with leaves, towers, clouds, and sleeping animals. At the center, 2 bronze handles rest beneath an old crest. Before you can reach for them, a lock turns somewhere inside. The doors open a few inches. Warm air moves through the gap, carrying the scent of cedarwood, beeswax, and a distant fire. The opening widens. Beyond it lies a vast entrance hall filled with soft golden light. You step inside. The doors close quietly behind you. At once, the storm becomes distant. Rain still taps against the high windows, but the thick stone walls soften every sound. The entrance hall stretches far ahead. A wide staircase rises beneath a vaulted ceiling painted in deep midnight blue. Dark wooden galleries overlook the floor from above. At either side, enormous hearths stand empty and cold. The lamps along the walls are already burning, though their light remains gentle. A long rug leads from the entrance toward the staircase. At its edge, a small pool of rainwater gathers from your journey. The castle seems to notice. A quiet sound comes from the fireplace to your left. One piece of wood settles against another. A single ember glows beneath the grate. Then a small flame appears. It moves slowly across the logs, warming them until the whole hearth begins to burn. Across the entrance hall, the second fireplace awakens in the same way. Golden light spreads across the floor. The cold leaves your hands and face. Beside the nearest fire, a wooden screen folds itself back against the wall. A deep chair waits beside a low table. A folded towel rests upon it, fresh and dry. The castle has prepared a place for you to warm yourself. You remain beside the hearth for a while. The fire crackles steadily, filling the hall with comfortable warmth. Rainwater disappears from the stone floor as the heat reaches it. Somewhere above, a clock begins to tick. Another answers from deeper within the castle. Soon, gentle clocks are sounding throughout the building, each keeping the same slow rhythm. The towel beside the chair is thick and warm. Nearby, an old brass stand holds a place for a coat. A pair of soft indoor slippers waits beneath it. Nothing moves quickly. Nothing demands your attention. The castle simply gives you time to arrive. As you turn from the fire, a small table near the staircase catches your attention. It was empty when you entered. Now a silver tray rests upon it. A covered cup releases a thin curl of steam. Beside it sits a small plate of warm bread and honey. There is no note, no name, nothing to explain who placed it there. The nearest lamp brightens slightly, drawing a soft circle of light over the tray. Outside, thunder passes beyond the walls. Inside, the clocks continue their quiet rhythm. You understand that there is no need to question the welcome. For tonight, the castle has chosen to care for you. When the last warmth of the drink has settled through you, the lights along the staircase begin to change. The lamps nearest the floor dim. Those higher up brighten one after another. A pathway of gentle light rises toward the first gallery. The castle is inviting you farther inside. You leave the welcome table and approach the first step. The staircase curves upward beneath portraits, whose faces remain softened by shadow. At the landing, tall curtains sway beside a rain-dark window. Beyond the glass, the courtyard shines beneath the storm. Inside, the warm lamps lead onward. You place your foot upon the first stair and begin to climb. The staircase brings you to a broad upper gallery overlooking the hall. From here, the entrance appears peaceful and small beneath the vaulted ceiling. The fires continue burning below. The silver tray remains upon the table. Across the gallery, several corridors lead into different parts of the castle. Most are dark. One is softly lit. Its lamps glow beneath carved wooden arches, leading toward a distant door. As you watch, that door opens. Beyond it lies another warm room, though you cannot yet see what it contains. The castle has chosen the way. You follow the lit corridor, leaving the grand entrance hall behind. The corridor ends at the open door. Beyond it, a quiet sitting room waits beneath tall windows. Rain trails down the glass. A fire burns in a smaller stone hearth. Deep chairs face the flames, and heavy curtains have been drawn against the coldest part of the storm. On a table near the window, an old castle map lies closed beneath a brass key. Farther on, another doorway stands slightly open. A warm passage continues beyond it, leading deeper into the awakened castle. You enter the sitting room and listen. The fire settles. The clocks tick softly through the walls, and somewhere ahead, another door quietly unlocks. The upper gallery leads toward the room you saw from the staircase. Its door stands open beneath a narrow stone arch. Inside, a quiet sitting room waits beside the storm. A fire burns in a carved hearth at the far end. Two deep chairs face the flames, and a small table rests between them. Rain moves in silver lines across the tall windows. From here, the courtyard seems distant and peaceful beneath the dark sky. The room feels prepared, but not yet meant for rest. Another door stands open beside the fireplace. Warm light reaches through it, inviting you onward. The doorway beside the fire opens into a long portrait passage. Unlike the grand entrance hall, this corridor is narrow and quiet. Dark wooden panels line the lower walls. Above them hang old paintings in heavy frames. Their faces remain indistinct beneath the gentle lamps. The carpet beneath you softens every step. At intervals, tall windows reveal the storm moving around the towers. Lightning glows faintly behind the clouds, but the thunder has become distant. The corridor bends ahead. Just beyond the turn, a soft musical note sounds somewhere inside the castle. Then another follows. The passage curves toward a pair of slender doors. One has opened slightly. Through the gap, you see the polished edge of a grand piano. The note comes again. A single key presses gently downward, then rises. No melody follows. It is only a quiet invitation. You approach the doorway. The room beyond is wider than the corridor, with pale walls, tall curtains, and instruments resting beneath protective covers. The doors open farther as you arrive. Warm lamplight spreads across the polished floor. You step into the music room while rain whispers against the windows. The piano stands near the center of the room. Its dark surface reflects the lamps above. The lid is raised, though no music rests upon the stand. Another key lowers by itself. A soft note passes through the room and fades into the rain. Across from the piano, a harp rests beside a tall window. Several violins sleep inside an open cabinet. Nothing performs. Nothing plays a song. The instruments only seem to be waking, testing their voices after a long silence. Then the piano closes gently. At the opposite end of the room, heavy double doors unlock. The double doors open onto darkness. Beyond them lies an enormous ballroom. The music room feels small behind you as you cross the threshold. Moonlight enters through windows stretching almost to the ceiling. The polished floor reflects pale blue shapes from the storm outside. For a moment, the ballroom remains unlit. Then chandeliers high above begin to glow. Not with hundreds of candles at once, but gradually, in soft rings of warm light. The empty room reveals itself. Tall columns, folded curtains, a distant raised gallery, and a floor wide enough to hold an entire midnight celebration. You walk slowly across the ballroom. Your footsteps travel farther here, returning softly from the high ceiling. The chandeliers cast warm pools of light across the floor. Between them, moonlight remains cool and silver. Along one wall, tall mirrors reflect the empty room. Their glass makes the ballroom appear to continue beyond itself. At the far end, curtains begin to draw away from a set of glass doors. A smaller terrace lies beyond them, sheltered beneath the upper floors. Rain glimmers outside. The castle offers you a moment to look across the night before leading you onward. The glass doors open onto a covered terrace. Stone columns protect it from the heaviest rain. Beyond the balustrade, the dark valley stretches beneath the storm. The road you followed is now only a faint silver line far below. Clouds move between the hills. The river flashes whenever distant lightning passes behind them. Warm light from the ballroom spills across the wet terrace floor. For a little while, you stand between two worlds, the cold blue night beyond the castle, and the warmth waiting inside. Then, another door at the end of the terrace opens beneath a sheltered arch. The terrace door leads into a high gallery overlooking the banquet hall. You pause beside a carved stone railing. Far below, a table stretches almost the entire length of the chamber. No guests sit beside it. No feast waits upon the plates. The hall is still preparing itself. Candles brighten along the walls. Heavy curtains close against the rain. At the far end, an enormous fireplace begins to glow. The long table remains bare, except for a single silver bowl at its center. A staircase descends from the gallery to the floor below. Its lamps awaken one by one. You descend into the banquet hall. From the floor, the ceiling seems even higher. Dark beams cross above chandeliers of iron and glass. The long table reflects the fire at the far end. As you pass, simple place settings arrange themselves quietly along one side. A plate settles. A folded cloth rests beside it. A cup moves into place. Only one setting is prepared. The rest of the table remains untouched. The castle is not expecting a crowd. It is preparing the hall for a single traveller. A smaller door opens discreetly behind a wall hanging near the fireplace. The small door leads into a servant's passage. The grandeur of the banquet hall disappears behind you. Here, the ceiling is lower. The stone floor is plain and gently worn. Copper pipes run along one wall, carrying warmth deeper into the castle. Small lamps glow behind protective glass. The passage turns several times, passing closed cupboards and narrow staircases. There are no decorations here, only the quiet working heart of the castle. Ahead, warm air carries the scent of bread, herbs, and roasting vegetables. A wide kitchen door stands open at the end of the passage. The kitchen is bright and warm. Rows of copper pans hang above long wooden work tables. Several ovens glow along the far wall. A kettle warms upon an iron stove. Bundles of herbs sway gently from the beams. No cook stands at the tables, yet the kitchen is busy. A loaf rises inside one oven. A pot stirs slowly without a spoon. Fresh vegetables rest in neat rows, washed and ready. The castle's magic feels different here. Less mysterious, more practical. A door near the pantry opens as the scent of warm bread fills the room. You move closer to the largest oven. Its iron door opens slightly. Warmth rolls into the kitchen. Inside, several round loaves have turned deep gold. One slides forward onto a waiting wooden board. Steam rises from its crust. A small knife rests beside a dish of butter and salt. The preparation is simple and comforting. Nothing more than you might have found in a welcoming farmhouse after a long journey. Behind you, the kitchen continues its quiet work. A second kettle begins to simmer. A cupboard opens. From within comes the scent of dried fruit and cinnamon. The open cupboard is not a cupboard at all. It reveals a walk-in pantry beyond. Shelves rise from floor to ceiling. Glass jars hold grains, dried fruit, herbs, and spices. Baskets contain apples and winter pears. Covered dishes rest beneath clean cloths. The pantry smells of cedar shelves and warm cinnamon. A narrow ladder glides gently along its rail, stopping beside a high shelf. From there, A small jar moves carefully into a waiting basket below. The castle selects only what is needed. At the back of the pantry, a second door leads into a smaller dining chamber. The private dining chamber is small compared with the banquet hall. A round table stands beside a bay window. Rain trails down the glass behind thick curtains. Only one chair has been drawn back. Upon the table waits a bowl of warm soup, fresh bread, and a steaming cup. The meal is modest. Exactly what you need after the cold road and long climb. A fire burns quietly in a tiled hearth. You settle into the room's warmth. The castle does not hurry you. It allows the storm and the clocks to fill the silence while the meal waits. The room grows quieter after the meal. The fire settles into a low, steady glow. Outside, the rain continues, though the thunder has moved farther into the hills. The empty dishes slide gently together. A folded cloth covers the remaining bread. The cup refills with warm water and herbs. Across the room, a narrow cabinet opens to reveal a passage behind it. Soft light reaches through the hidden doorway. The castle has given you warmth and food. Now, it is ready to show you another part of itself. You leave the table and step through the concealed opening. The short passage opens into a drawing room hidden between the larger halls. The ceiling is low and crossed with dark beams. Bookshelves fill one wall. A wide fireplace fills another. Deep green chairs surround a low table set with a chessboard. The pieces are plain and unmarked. None of them move. This room feels less like a public chamber and more like somewhere the castle once kept its quiet evenings. A clock ticks above the mantel. Heavy rain taps against a small leaded window. Beside the shelves, a door opens toward a dim conservatory passage. The door opens into a passage roofed with glass. Rain moves directly overhead. Drops gather, merge, and travel down the sloping panes. On either side, stone planters hold ferns, ivy, and pale night-blooming flowers. The air smells of damp earth and rosemary. Warm pipes beneath the floor keep the passage comfortable despite the storm. Ahead, the glass corridor crosses above an inner courtyard. From here, you can see rain falling into a circular pool far below. A door at the opposite end leads back into the main castle. Its brass latch turns as you approach. Instead of entering the castle immediately, a side door opens onto the inner courtyard. This courtyard is smaller and more sheltered than the first. Covered walkways surround a circular rain pool. Water falls from the roof edges in silver threads. The pool catches every drop, sending gentle rings across its dark surface. Warm windows rise around you on all sides. The storm feels contained here, held safely within stone walls. You follow the covered path around the pool. At the far side, double doors stand open beneath a balcony. Firelight glows beyond them. The double doors lead into a long fireside salon. Several seating areas are arranged along the room. Each has its own low table, rug, and reading lamp. At the far end, a fireplace stretches nearly from floor to ceiling. The flames burn behind a finely worked iron screen. Rain darkens the windows along one side. Along the other, tall doors remain closed beneath carved arches. The room seems designed for conversation, though tonight it belongs entirely to silence. One chair near the great fireplace turns slightly toward the warmth. A final door opens beside the hearth. The door beside the fireplace is narrower than the others. Beyond it, a stone staircase descends between the walls. No carpet covers these steps. No portraits or lamps decorate the passage. Only a line of small recessed lights guides the way downward. The warm salon remains behind you. Ahead, the staircase curves out of sight beneath the castle. A cool draft rises from below, carrying the scent of old paper, stone, and cedarwood. Somewhere in the darkness, a lock releases. The castle has shown you its great halls. Now it is ready to reveal the rooms hidden behind them. You begin descending the narrow stone staircase. The warmth of the fireside salon remains behind you for several steps. Then the doorway above closes gently, and the sounds of the main castle become distant. Small lights are set into the walls at ankle height. They cast a quiet glow across the plain stone steps without revealing too much of what waits below. The staircase curves several times. There are no windows here, only cool walls, the faint scent of cedarwood, and the steady ticking of clocks travelling through the stone. At the bottom, a short underground corridor stretches ahead. The staircase ends in a long passage beneath the castle. Unlike the servants' corridors, this place appears rarely used. The flagstones are smooth with age. Tall wooden doors line both walls, each fitted perfectly into the stone. None has a sign or handle. As you walk, most remain closed. One door near the end of the passage releases with a low click. A narrow line of warm light appears beneath it. The door opens inward. Beyond it, you see the edge of an enormous table and the pale curve of an old globe. The castle has chosen the first hidden room. The room beyond is a hidden map chamber. A broad table fills its center. Maps lie beneath protective glass, their coastlines and roads suggested through faded colors rather than readable markings. Several unlabeled globes rest upon wooden stands. Shelves hold rolled charts tied with plain cord. The walls are covered with carved panels showing mountains, rivers, and forests. A lamp above the table brightens as you approach. One section of the glass slides aside. Beneath it, a small brass compass slowly turns. Its needle settles toward a concealed doorway on the opposite side of the chamber. You cross the map chamber toward the place indicated by the compass. At first, there appears to be only a carved wooden wall. Then, one of the landscape panels moves. The section turns slowly upon a hidden center, revealing a passage behind it. Cool air reaches into the room. The new passage is narrower and older than the corridor outside. Its walls are rough stone rather than carefully cut blocks. A single runner stretches over the floor. At the far end, a small lamp glows beside an iron-bound door. The turning wall settles closed behind you as you continue forward. The iron-bound door opens into a long armor gallery. Suits of armor stand beneath shallow stone arches. Some are polished silver, others are darkened with age. Shields rest on wooden brackets between them, their surfaces plain and undecorated. There are no weapons raised in warning. Everything is arranged as carefully as objects in a quiet museum. As you pass, the armor remains perfectly still. Only firelight from low wall lamps moves across the metal. Near the center of the gallery, one empty arch reveals a narrow staircase descending behind the displays. You step through the empty arch and begin descending again. This staircase is tighter than the first. Its steps spiral around a central stone column. Narrow openings in the wall reveal brief glimpses into storage rooms and forgotten passages. One contains covered furniture. Another holds rows of empty picture frames. The castle's hidden spaces continue in every direction. The stair finally reaches a circular landing. 3 doors stand around it. As you arrive, the door directly ahead opens. Warm lamplight falls over rows of books disappearing into the room beyond. The hidden library is larger than it first appeared. Shelves rise through several levels around a central reading floor. Narrow balconies circle the walls, connected by winding staircases. A domed ceiling rests far overhead. Small lamps glow between the shelves. The books have no readable titles upon their spines. Their worn leather surfaces form quiet bands of brown, green, and deep red. At the center, a single reading table waits beneath a hanging lamp. One book rests closed upon it. As you enter, the chair beside the table draws back slightly. You approach the central table. The closed book is covered in soft, dark leather. There is no title or symbol upon it. When you reach the chair, the book opens by itself. The pages are filled with delicate drawings of the castle. Not words, only rooms, bridges, gardens, stairways, and towers. Several of the places are familiar. Others remain hidden somewhere ahead. A page turns slowly. It reveals a drawing of a small writing room beyond the library shelves. At once, a section of bookshelves nearby begins to move apart. Behind the moving shelves lies a small writing room. A broad desk faces a rain-dark window set deep within the castle wall. Quills rest inside a plain ceramic cup. Sheets of blank paper are stacked neatly beside an ink bottle. None of the pages contains writing. A low fire burns in a compact hearth. Shelves above the desk hold sealing wax, ribbons, and empty wooden boxes. The room seems designed for thoughts that have not yet been written. A second chair waits near the window. Beyond it, a narrow door opens onto a covered stone balcony. The narrow door leads onto a balcony built within the castle walls. A stone roof shelters it from the rain. Below, you see one of the inner courtyards from a completely different angle. The circular pool is now far beneath you. Covered passages cross between wings of the castle. Warm windows reflect against the wet stone. From somewhere above comes the faint sound of the tower clocks. At the far end of the balcony, a glass door has opened. Behind it, broad leaves and pale flowers fill a room warmed against the storm. You follow the sheltered balcony toward the hidden conservatory. Warm, damp air surrounds you as you enter the conservatory. The room is enclosed by tall glass walls and a sloping roof. Rain travels across every pane. Large ferns grow beside stone planters. Climbing vines twist around iron frames. Pale flowers open beneath the midnight sky, their petals catching the soft interior light. There are no glowing plants or unnatural colours. The garden feels carefully tended through simple castle magic. A narrow stream runs through the centre of the room. Flat stones form a path across it toward a door hidden behind hanging leaves. You cross the stream one stone at a time. Water moves quietly beneath you, warmed by pipes hidden below the floor. Tiny ripples carry fallen petals toward a grated channel at the edge of the conservatory. The room feels far removed from the stone corridors behind you. Rain sounds softer through the glass roof. Ahead, the hanging leaves part. The concealed door opens into a short cloister lined with carved columns. A low bell sounds once beyond the doorway. Not a warning. Only a gentle note travelling through another forgotten part of the castle. The cloister leads into a small forgotten chapel. Rows of simple wooden benches face a pale stone alcove. There are no statues or readable inscriptions, only a round window high in the wall filled with dark blue glass. Rainwater traces slow paths across it. Several candles rest unlit upon a low stand. As you enter, one flame appears, then another. A small number of candles awaken, casting gentle light across the empty room. The chapel feels quiet rather than solemn. A side door opens near the alcove, revealing steps descending toward the oldest part of the castle. You leave the chapel through the side door. The steps beyond descend through cooler air. The smell of damp stone is joined by oak, dust, and something faintly sweet. The walls widen as you go. Wooden supports appear beneath the older arches. At the bottom, the staircase opens into a cellar passage. Barrels rest in deep alcoves on either side. Bottles lie horizontally in wooden racks, their glass dark and unlabeled. A line of low lamps leads through the center. Farther ahead, an iron gate slowly unlocks. Beyond the gate lies the main wine cellar. Its vaulted chambers continue farther than the lamps reveal. Rows of barrels fill the center. Narrow paths run between them. Dust rests upon the oldest bottles, untouched by the castle's midnight awakening. Near one wall, a small table has been prepared. A glass decanter stands beside two empty cups, though nothing is poured. The castle offers without insisting. You continue past the table. At the rear of the cellar, a stone arch opens into a passage where the floor has been warmed and polished smooth. The cellar arch leads into a passage unlike the cold chambers behind you. Heat rises gently through the smooth stone floor. The walls are pale and free of decoration. Copper pipes disappear through small openings near the ceiling. A faint mist hangs in the air ahead. The scent of cedarwood returns, mixed now with mineral water and dried lavender. The corridor bends around a rounded wall. Beyond it comes the quiet sound of water pouring into a basin. As you reach the curve, the castle's hidden bathing chambers begin to reveal themselves. The passage opens into a circular changing chamber. Wooden screens divide the room into quiet sections. A long bench follows the curved wall. Folded towels rest in neat stacks. A simple robe and soft slippers have been placed beside them. No mirrors hang here, only warm lamps set behind frosted glass. Another doorway stands open across the room. Steam drifts through it. Beyond, you can see the edge of a broad stone basin and water moving beneath the light. The castle has prepared another place of comfort, deep beneath its oldest halls. The bathing chamber is carved from pale stone. A broad mineral pool fills most of the room. Warm water enters through a carved channel in the wall, creating gentle ripples across the surface. Steam rises slowly beneath the arched ceiling. Several stone steps descend into the pool. Beside them, a towel waits on a heated bench. There are no statues or elaborate decorations, only water, stone, and quiet warmth. At the opposite end, a smaller archway leads into another chamber, where rain can be heard falling directly overhead. The smaller archway leads into a round chamber beneath a glass ceiling. Rain falls onto the roof far above. Each drop spreads across the panes before running toward the edges. Below, a shallow warm pool surrounds a circular stone platform. The storm is visible but cannot reach you. Blue night fills the ceiling. Warm lamps remain low around the walls. For a few moments, you stay beside the water and listen. The rain sounds deeper here, softened by glass, stone, and steam. Then, a door opens in the curved wall, returning you toward the hidden corridors. You leave the bathing chambers through the open door. The passage beyond begins gently upward. Its walls change from pale bathing stone to darker blocks as it climbs. Warm pipes continue beneath the floor, but the air gradually cools. Small windows appear after several turns. Through them, you see rain moving past the outer walls high above the valley. You have crossed beneath the castle and reached another wing. At the top of the passage, a heavy door unlocks. Beyond it, a spiral staircase rises into one of the midnight towers. The castle is ready to lead you upward. The quiet chamber slowly settles behind you. Beyond the far arch, an older stair begins to climb. The stone steps curve tightly around a worn central pillar. The walls feel colder here. Every footstep disappears into the silence above. The lantern light below grows softer with each turn. Far overhead, a faint silver glow begins to gather. Not sunlight, not moonlight. Just enough light to promise another forgotten place waiting beyond. You continue climbing. The staircase finally opens. A long gallery stretches beneath enormous timber beams. Ancient bronze bells rest silently above. Dust drifts lazily through pale shafts of light. Nothing moves, nothing rings. Open arches reveal glimpses of the rain outside. The castle feels peaceful, as though even time itself has slowed within these old walls. Beyond the bells, another corridor opens. Tall arches overlook the sleeping valley below. Rain drifts softly across the open spaces. The stone floor glistens. Cool air moves quietly through the gallery. The castle breathes with the weather beyond its walls. Everything feels calm. Everything feels wonderfully still. A narrow bridge crosses overhead. Beyond it waits a circular landing. Tall windows surround the room. Rain slides gently across every pane. Simple wooden benches rest beneath each window. The silence feels almost sacred. Far beyond the glass, the forest stretches endlessly into darkness. Another doorway quietly opens. The ceiling rises into a perfect stone dome. Tiny openings reveal fragments of the night sky. The stars seem brighter here, almost impossibly close. The chamber contains nothing more than smooth stone and silence. It was built simply for watching the heavens. Nothing more was ever needed. A small side room waits nearby. An old oak desk rests beside the window. Blank parchment lies neatly arranged. A feather quill remains untouched. The chair has been quietly pulled back. Rain taps gently against the glass. Someone once worked here, long ago. Now only the silence remains. Beyond the study, another bridge appears. It crosses openly between two towers. Rain drifts through the stone arches. Below, the castle disappears into darkness. Above, only the stars remain. Every step feels suspended between earth and sky. The bridge reaches another tower. Inside, shelves climb almost to the ceiling. Old leather-bound books wait quietly. Dust gathers undisturbed. A narrow ladder rests against the shelves. One high window allows soft silver light to fall across the floor. The room feels untouched by centuries. A small wooden door opens. Outside, a narrow balcony circles the tower. Rain falls softly into the valley below. Clouds drift across the distant mountains. The forest stretches beyond every horizon. The castle seems impossibly high now. The world feels wonderfully quiet. The balcony slowly widens. Hidden among the stone walls, a tiny rooftop garden quietly survives. Ferns grow between ancient paving stones. White flowers bloom beside shallow pools. Rainwater gathers naturally. Even here, life continues gently above the sleeping castle. At the far end of the rooftop garden, ivy covers a narrow wooden door. Rain runs across its dark surface. As you approach, the vines slowly draw aside. The latch lifts. Beyond the doorway, a small circular room waits inside the tower. Warm light rests upon pale stone walls. A bench curves beneath several narrow windows. Fresh towels and a folded blanket have been placed there. The garden remains visible behind you through the open door. For a moment, you pause between the cool rain and the quiet warmth within. Then, another door opens on the opposite side of the room. The circular room feels sheltered from the height of the castle. A small fire burns inside a stone stove. The curved bench has been softened with deep cushions. Rain taps against the narrow windows. From here, the tower garden appears silver beneath the storm. A warm cup waits upon a low table. Nothing else has been prepared. The room asks nothing of you. It simply offers a place to become still. Across the chamber, The newly opened door reveals a carpeted passage sloping gently downward. Soft firelight moves across its walls. You leave the resting room and follow it. The descending passage opens into the castle's royal apartments. The rooms are grand, but not cold. Deep carpets soften the floors. Dark wooden panels rise beneath pale stone arches. A series of open doors reveals quiet chambers beyond one another. A sitting room, a dressing room, a private gallery warmed by several low fires. Nothing is arranged for ceremony. The castle has awakened these rooms only for comfort. You walk through the first chamber toward tall doors standing open ahead. Beyond them, rain glows against the windows of a private salon. The private salon overlooks the Western Valley. Tall windows curve around one side of the room. Rain moves across them in silver lines. A low fire burns beneath a carved stone mantel. Two pale chairs face the windows rather than the hearth. Between them rests a small table with an untouched tea service. The room seems designed for watching storms pass over the hills. Lightning glows behind the clouds, silent at this distance. Beside the fireplace, a narrow door opens. Beyond it, a softly lit gallery stretches toward another wing of the castle. The narrow door leads into a long crown gallery. Glass cabinets stand between tall windows. Inside them rest old ceremonial objects: a folded cloak, a plain silver circlet, a pair of gloves, several sealed boxes. Nothing bears a name. Nothing is displayed with pride. These objects feel less like treasures and more like memories the castle has chosen to preserve. At the end of the gallery, the final cabinet contains no object at all. Its rear panel slides open. A hidden stone bridge waits beyond it, crossing through the center of the castle. The concealed bridge crosses high above the castle's great entrance hall. Through carved openings in the stone, you see the staircase far below. The firelit sitting rooms and galleries you explored earlier appear small from this height. Rain darkens the enormous windows on the opposite wall. The castle has quietly carried you in a vast circle. From the bridge, you can trace the journey behind you. The entrance, the ballroom, the upper galleries. Yet another part of the castle remains ahead. At the far end, a pair of dark doors opens into a silent suite of rooms. The dark doors open into a great bedroom. A tall bed stands beneath a carved wooden canopy. Its curtains have been tied back. Pale blankets and deep blue cushions rest beneath the soft light of the fire. Rain moves across wide windows beyond the bed. A small table has been prepared with water, a candle, and a folded cloth. The room is peaceful, but it does not yet feel like the end of the journey. Another doorway stands open near the windows. Beyond it, moonlight reflects across a polished stone floor. The castle is leading you onward one final time before rest. The doorway opens into a long moon gallery. Unlike the warm rooms behind you, this space is lit almost entirely by the stormy night. Tall windows line both sides. Their pale reflections stretch across the polished floor. Between them stand simple stone columns and empty benches. No portraits hang here. No ornaments fill the walls. The gallery feels open, quiet, and suspended above the sleeping castle. At its far end, one circular window glows with deep blue light. Beneath it, a narrow stair rises toward the castle's highest chamber. You begin the final climb. The staircase curves tightly within the uppermost tower. The stone here is pale and smooth. There are no lamps. Moonlight enters through narrow openings and guides each step. The storm has begun to soften. Rain still falls, but the thunder has moved far beyond the valley. With every turn, the castle grows quieter. The clocks below become faint. The fires become distant. At the top, the staircase reaches a round wooden door. A thin line of warm light appears beneath it. The door opens slowly inward. Beyond the door lies a small room at the very top of the castle. Its ceiling follows the shape of the tower roof. Rain moves softly across windows on every side. Far below, the courtyards, roofs, bridges, and gardens rest within the darkness. A single deep chair faces the view. Beside it stands a low table and a small fire enclosed behind glass. The room feels separate from the castle, yet connected to every chamber beneath it. You settle into its quiet warmth. For now, there is nowhere else you need to go. The castle will keep watch until you are ready to continue. The room above the castle remains still around you. Rain travels softly across the windows. The enclosed fire burns without sound. For a while, nothing changes. Then the flames slowly lower. Behind the glass, the stone at the back of the fireplace begins to move. A narrow doorway appears where the fire had been. Beyond it, pale steps descend into the tower. The castle has offered you rest. But the journey is not yet finished. You rise from the deep chair. The room remains warm behind you as you step through the hidden opening. The hidden staircase descends within the center of the tower. Unlike the pale stair you climbed before, these steps are dark and ancient. A narrow channel of warm light follows the wall. There are no windows here, only smooth stone turning slowly downward. The sounds of the storm fade. The rain becomes distant. Even the castle's clocks can no longer be heard. You continue beneath the rooms you explored. Deeper into a part of the castle that has remained closed for centuries. The staircase opens into a tall, narrow chamber. Thick ropes hang silently through openings in the ceiling. They disappear upward into darkness. Old wooden wheels rest against the walls. Once, these mechanisms may have opened gates, raised bridges, or moved the bells high above. Now everything is still. One rope shifts gently without being touched. Across the chamber, a wooden platform begins to descend. Its gate opens as it reaches the floor. The castle has prepared another way downward. You step onto the wooden platform. The gate closes quietly behind you. The ropes tighten. Without a jolt or sound, the lift begins to descend. Stone floors pass through narrow openings beyond the timber frame. Brief glimpses appear. A sleeping corridor, a dark gallery, a distant fireplace burning in an empty room. The castle moves around you like a slow dream. Then the walls grow older, the carved stone becomes rough. The platform enters the forgotten foundations beneath the great halls. The lift settles beneath a low stone arch. Beyond it stretches the oldest hall in the castle. Massive pillars support the weight of every tower above. Their surfaces are worn smooth by time. Shallow channels carry rainwater through the floor. The water moves slowly, reflecting thin lines of amber light. There are no carpets here, no paintings, no signs of ceremony, only stone, water, and the deep quiet beneath the sleeping castle. One of the water channels widens. It passes beneath a series of dark arches and becomes a narrow underground stream. A stone walkway follows beside it. The water is clear. Small reflections move across the ceiling with every ripple. Somewhere ahead, rainwater enters through hidden openings in the castle walls. Its soft rhythm fills the passage. You follow the stream away from the foundation hall. The air becomes cooler, cleaner, and touched with the scent of wet earth. The stone passage gradually changes. Fine roots emerge between the blocks. At first, they are no thicker than threads. Then larger roots begin to curve across the walls and ceiling. The castle has been standing here for so long. The forest above has grown around its foundations. Drops of water gather upon the roots. Tiny pale leaves unfold in the darkness. Ahead, a soft green light rests beyond an open arch. The underground stream continues toward it. The arch opens into a courtyard hidden beneath the castle. Its walls rise several stories, yet no sky appears above. Instead, enormous roots form a living ceiling. Rainwater falls gently through them. Ferns grow around the base of broken columns. A dry stone fountain waits in the center. As you approach, water begins to rise within its basin. The courtyard has not seen moonlight for centuries. Still, it has never stopped waiting. The fountain quietly overflows. A narrow stream leaves the basin and crosses the courtyard. Where it reaches the far wall, a concealed stone door slowly opens. Beyond it lies a passage lined with shallow basins. Water moves from one to the next. Each basin gives off a faint warmth. Mist gathers close to the floor. You step through the doorway. Behind you, the hidden courtyard returns to silence. Ahead, the passage descends beneath a series of low arches. The passage enters a long gallery of pale stone. Warm water travels through channels on either side. The heat has softened the air. Small ferns grow within cracks along the floor. There are no flames here. The warmth rises naturally from beneath the castle. At the center of the gallery, a simple stone bench faces a dark opening. Beyond it, rain falls through a shaft from somewhere far above. The water shines silver as it disappears into a pool below. You approach the falling rain. The shaft rises through the entire height of the castle. Far above, a small opening reveals the stormy sky. Rain descends through darkness before reaching the pool. Stone balconies circle the shaft at several forgotten levels. No doors lead from them now. Only the water still travels freely between the castle and the night. A narrow bridge crosses the pool. On the other side, warm light glows behind a wall of mist. You step onto the narrow bridge. Rain whispers into the pool below. Warm mist drifts across the stone. For several moments, nothing exists beyond the bridge. Only water, soft light, and the quiet sound of the storm travelling down through the castle. Then the mist begins to thin. A broad doorway appears ahead. Beyond it, pale green leaves gather beneath a high glass ceiling. The castle has been hiding a garden within its deepest foundations. The doorway opens into an enormous conservatory. Its glass roof rests between the oldest castle walls. Rain moves across the panes high above. Trees grow from deep beds of dark soil. Their leaves shine beneath the moonlight. Stone paths curve between ferns, white flowers, and quiet pools. No one could see this garden from outside. It exists entirely within the heart of the castle. After so many halls of stone, the living green feels almost like another world. A narrow path leads beneath the trees. White flowers grow closely along both sides. Rainwater travels through clear channels between their roots. The leaves overhead soften every sound. Small drops fall from branch to branch. The conservatory becomes quieter with every step. Ahead, the path crosses a shallow pool on a series of broad stones. Beyond the water, a circular pavilion waits beneath the center of the glass roof. You begin crossing the pool. Each broad stone rests just above the water. Moonlight moves between them. Small fish drift beneath the surface and disappear among the reflections. Rain taps softly against the glass ceiling far overhead. The pavilion grows closer. Its pale columns are wrapped in climbing vines. Inside, a low circular fire burns beneath a stone canopy. The warm light rests gently across the water. The final stone reaches the pavilion. Pale columns rise around a circular floor. Vines hang gently between them. At the center, the small fire burns inside a shallow stone bowl. Several cushioned benches curve around it. No table has been prepared. Nothing waits to be completed. From here, every part of the garden remains visible. The trees, the pools, the rain moving quietly across the glass above. For the first time since entering the castle, the path ahead disappears. As the fire settles lower, a quiet sound rises beneath the floor. Water begins to move through a circular channel around the pavilion. It is clear and faintly warm. Steam gathers above it in thin strands. The channel flows outward, joining the pools throughout the garden. The castle's hidden spring has been here all along, warming its oldest stones, feeding its trees. Waiting beneath every room you explored, the entire castle seems to breathe with the water. Far above, one of the castle clocks begins to slow. Its distant rhythm reaches the conservatory only faintly. The fires within the castle lower. Doors close gently in rooms you can no longer see. The bridges become still. The bells remain silent. The castle is preparing to sleep again. Yet the conservatory stays warm. Rain continues across the glass. The spring continues through the garden. Nothing here needs to close. Nothing here needs to disappear. The storm begins to move beyond the valley. Rain still touches the roof, but more gently now. The darkness above the glass has softened. Not yet morning, only the final quiet hour before it. The white flowers slowly close among the ferns. Small ripples travel across the pools. The fire becomes a bed of warm embers. You remain beneath the pavilion, surrounded by water, leaves, and the oldest stones of the castle. There is nowhere else the night needs to take you. You settle against the curved cushions. The warm spring continues around the pavilion. Beyond the columns, the hidden garden rests beneath the fading storm. Rain travels in quiet lines across the glass roof. The trees stand motionless. The pools hold the last reflections of the night. Above you, the castle closes its final doors. Its clocks become silent. Its fires dim to embers. Yet here, at the heart of everything, warm water continues to flow. The castle will sleep when morning arrives. The garden will remain. And for now, you may simply rest beside the water while the final rain passes gently overhead.